good Monday morning. Snowy day in Montreal, like snowy, wetty day. So we've mid or almost end of November. So this is the last Monday class of this series, but I've been enjoying it, so I'm sure we're going to continue. So have one or two blocks, a strap. If you have a bolster, have that ready as well. And I'm just going to open the window because I always like a little bit of fresh air. I know I'm warming outside, but so we're going to start a little bit closer to the wall. So I hope you have a wall. If not, you can take a chair. And you don't need the whole wall, so just a place where you can place your hands. And then walk a little bit away so that you can press your hand flat onto the wall. But you don't want to be leaning on it. So you want to have your shoulders and your feet aligned. So really press, have the shoulders and the feet aligned. And then reach your right arm up. And then exhale, go over. So maybe you can touch your left hand. Inhale up. And I'll go to the other side. So we're gonna reverse soon, but we want to push into the wall. So don't bend into your elbow, really go and reach, pressing into the wall. Inhale, other arm up, and just gently counter rotate. So one more time here. Maybe just tip the wall, and then going back. And then release. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to show you my back. So align so that you're not leaning on the wall. Press your hands into the wall. And then inhale the other arm up. And exhale down. Reach up and go. And start to observe maybe the differences. One side as you press into the wall. And the other side. And then coming back, last time over. And coming back. So this time getting closer to the wall. And reach your arms up. So my toes are against the wall. I have big feet, so I will be a little bit off the wall. Reach your arms up. And then come onto your fingertips. So your arms are straight. See if you can bring the shoulder blades down a little bit, the tailbone down. And then start to walk your hands towards the right. So if you need a bit more support, press your belly or your chest against the wall so that you're not starting to lean over. So again, a side stretch. Let's stay here for 3 breaths on one side. And then coming back to center as you inhale, 1 breath in the center. And then exhale to the other side. And then inhaling back up and exhaling. Now keep your left hand, your left arm in the back. So I'll just show you with the right. So keep your right hand in the back. And start to walk your feet to the other side that your right hand is pointing to. So your right hip is against the wall, and we're opening the shoulder. So this is a swimmer stretch. So maybe you're here, you're not completely perpendicular with the wall. That's okay. So just as you exhale, see if you can go a little bit further. And then come onto your fingertips, walk your fingers down and feel this more of an opening maybe into your pectoral muscles, but keep your body as straight as to the side as possible. Maybe going a little bit deeper. And then continue walking up and then flat and change. So face the wall. Put your left arm into a half T. Press your hand down, your arm is straight. Start to walk towards the side. So you're as close as possible to the wall and as perpendicular as possible. So there might be a difference one side to the other. Coming onto the fingertips, walking down. And again, bring the chest more to the front, observing. And then walking your hand back up and turning back to the wall. Let's bring the hands at the height of the shoulders and then walk back. Walk back until you can stretch out your arms. And then press yourself back. So for the moment, our hands are still higher. We're just gonna sink in between the shoulders for a moment. So press it to the wall, straight legs, straight arms. Roll the shoulders out. And then come back up, walk a step forward. And this time we're gonna go a little bit deeper. So as you walk, as your feet are a little bit closer, see if you can lower your hands as well. So now straight corners. So adjust your feet. If you have a mirror, it's always easy, but so adjust your feet. Maybe eventually your wrist and your shoulders are going to be in one line. You don't want to bring them lower than that. And then from here, press into your hand, roll the shoulders out. So it's a supported downward facing dog. We're not bringing any weight on to our wrists here. So pressing back, hips are going back, tailbone gently goes down. Your legs are active, the muscles in your bum are working, are supporting you, your abs don't start to curve in the spine, so very neutral spine here. Take another breath in, and now start to bend your knees, let go of your hands and fold forward. So drop your head, drop your spine, your knees are bent, belly resting onto the thighs. Inhale, exhale. With your knees bent, we're gonna grab the back of our, like there where the Achilles is, so above the ankles. Fingers are to the inside, the thumb is at the front. Bring the elbows in, roll the shoulders back, and then start to lift into your hips. So lengthening the leg, dropping the head. So go to where the stretch is a little bit uncomfortable, but absolutely not painful. So no pain in the lower back. Stretch out a little bit more. Pull a little bit more onto your legs so you can bring your upper body closer. And then bend your knees. Come with a straight back and come all the way up. And release. So start to make little circles with your shoulders. The last couple of days, our practice has been a little bit more focused on deepening the stretch. So I thought today a little bit more movement, especially in the shoulders. And then keep your left hand onto your thigh and really start to move that right shoulder. So you can move with your elbow up and back, so your spine is moving as well. And then bring the right hand on the right leg. And same thing on the other side. So up and back, up and back. And one more, up and back, and release. Separate your feet, shake out your arms, and just start to turn around. So the arms are heavy, so they're probably gonna hit you. So just let that happen. Moving in the spine, moving in the hips, moving in the legs. Let your head just follow, and then coming back to center. We're gonna bring this time the arms to the side, roll the shoulders back. And so really, and now starting to turn the arms into the shoulder socket. So imagine this bone from the upper arm, which is called the humerus, that is really turning into the shoulder socket. So difference between just rolling the shoulders, where we really more work with the shoulder blades. Here it's really the shoulder itself. So making the circles a little bit bigger. And then the shoulder blades are getting involved. The deltoids, which are the muscles in the back that are bringing the shoulder blades towards the center and away. And bring the arms down, but keep your chest open, roll the shoulders back, press your arms back. So watch out that you don't push with your floating ribs. So drop your tailbone for a moment and feel that difference. What happens as you drop your tailbone, your floating ribs are going in. And then from here, start to lift your head up. So open chest, open throat, and then come back. And as you exhale, bring the chin into the chest. So this might be a little bit more difficult than a normal chin to chest. So really opening that cervical spine, the top of your thoracic spine. Continue pressing your arms back. And then release everything. Ooh, and I feel light. So we are going to take a block. And we're going to stand on the block with one foot. So if you have issues with balance, you can take 2 blocks here. If you have no block, you can always put your foot onto a chair. But the plan is to really have space, creating space into the hips. So just start to swing your leg front and back. So not too much holding here, just letting go. If your block is high enough, maybe you can even let go your toes. And then coming back. And then the other foot, so stand onto something and just releasing. And then coming down. Push the block away, your hands are on your hips. We're gonna open the right leg to the right, toes are pointing forward, and then open your foot towards the front. And then start to kick as if you were a soccer player. So if you need a bit more balance, don't hesitate to put your hand against the wall and just kicking. So kick back and kick forward. So you really, if you would put your hand on your hip, on your outer hip, you might feel everything moving here. Beautiful. And then coming back, and then changing sides. So stability on the right leg, opening up first, toes pointing forward, and then you open up. So you're already making that opening into the hip, which is going to protect your knee. Two more times. And release. Let me check if I can put a little bit more light on this side. Sure. Okay. So bring the feet as wide as your hips. Bend your knees, hands onto your thighs, fingers onto your knees, so very light, as if you were playing piano. And then start to make circles with your knees. So leaving the feet very light. I'm lifting in my heels even. I'm lifting on the sides of my feet. I really want to keep it light and then coming back. So the knee is made to go forward and back, not to do any crazy side moves. So here we really want to pay attention that our knees are always in line with our middle toes. And then coming back. Bend your knees a little bit more, reach your arms forward and activate your core. So we're really going to focus on the core here more than on the legs. They are working anyway, otherwise you would fall. So inhale, exhale, go a little bit deeper. Go a little bit deeper and then reach your arms up. And then fold forward. You can keep your knees bent, drop your head, drop your spine, so heavy, letting go. And then very slowly from here, sitting again a little bit deeper, and then coming all the way up. And exhale. Separate your feet, bring the toes out. Bring the hands onto the hips and bend your knees. So again, pay attention, knees towards the middle toes, shoulders above the hips. Don't curve too much in the lower back, so often we compensate. So bring that tailbone maybe a little bit more down. If you feel there is compression in the lower back, go a little bit deeper if you can. Bend your knees, and then inhale, press into your feet, and come all the way up. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, so really do this movement with control. Exhale. Every time you come maybe a little bit deeper. And the next time you're gonna stay down. You're gonna place your hands onto your thighs, and we're gonna bring the left shoulder towards the right. So press into your left thigh with your left hand and stretch your arm. Press, press, press. And then go into the other side. So press into your right thigh. We're very stable in the legs here. And then go one side, the other side. Roll the shoulders back, maybe come a little bit deeper. Lift your chest up again, maybe a little bit deeper. Come onto your toes if you still have the strength into your legs. And then press into your toes. So I'm still onto my toes and I'm coming all the way up. Heels down. And coming back to center. Take a breath in and a breath out. So we're just going to move to the floor for a few movements there. So make your way however you want. I am just going to bring my hands in the front, walk my feet back, bring the knees down, and then come into my tabletop. So the knees are as wide as the hips. Top of the feet are down. If you need more stability, by all means, curl your toes, but it's going to create a lot of muscle work into your leg, but that's okay. So 5 rounds of cat and cow. So go at the pace of your breath. Find your neutral spine first. Observe your body before you start. Then start to imagine the ocean, the waves coming onto the beach, and that's what your spine is going to do. So inhale, lift your tailbone, drop your belly. So imagine your spine is that wave coming on, rolling the shoulders back. The neck is following the curve of the spine, and then you can look up. And then as you exhale, tailbone down, belly button up. Spine is rounding one vertebrae at a time, eventually chin to chest, press into your hands, and then go for 4 more. And then neutral spine. Keep your hands where they are and start to bring your hips towards your heels. So you find a little stretch into your spine. Walk when your when your bum hits or touches the heels, walk your hands forward. So stretch into the spine. Inhale, exhale. and then inhale back up. Take your right arm, bring it under your left, so the palm is facing up, coming all the way down onto your left shoulder. Bring the left ear onto the floor, and then walk your right arm forward. Make sure your shoulder is not lifting, so you don't want to have your shoulder tickling your right ear. You really want to roll the shoulder back, shoulder blade down, and then only reach out. So explore that movement, and in the meantime, you just drop into your left shoulder. Inhaling, exhaling. And then bring your right hand in line with your left arm. And keep your hips aligned with your head. So we don't want the hips to fall right or left. And then start to open up your right arm to the ceiling. You can also bring your right hand onto your lower back. So gentle rotation, opening in the chest on the right side, still a heavy weight on the left side. So again, that shoulder blade is moving down. The abs are quite active here. See if you can release. What happens when you release? Does this feel comfortable? Maybe not. And then bring your right hand in front of your face, press up, come back up onto all fours. And I suggest a few cat and cows or any other stretches that you need to do. Maybe moving side to side, whatever you need to do. And then bring the right arm underneath the left. Reach as far as you can. Come onto your right shoulder, right ear. And then reach your left arm forward, but make sure your shoulder is back. Maybe you observe different sensations one side to the other. That's totally fine. Observing, as long as there's no pain, we're doing okay. Sometimes it's also the mind telling us, "Ooh, I don't like this move, I don't like this pose." So you're already stepping into the pose with resentment, and the body feels it. So the body's going to react, it's going to tense up, and then of course the pose becomes much more difficult. So observe also your mind when you're in a pose and you're like, is it your mind talking or is it your body talking? And then from here, bring the left arm in line with the right. And then slowly start to open your left side, your chest, by lifting the left arm up or bring the left arm in the back. So for some people, that's easier to have that sensation of opening. There's not much opening happening here. But the weight is still onto a right shoulder, right ear. And then coming back to center, left hand in front of your face and onto all fours. And again, make maybe little moves. And then bring the hands at the front. Come onto a plank onto your knees. So roll the shoulders back, activate the core. You can just rest onto your knees, but you don't want to sink in. You don't want to create that compression in the lower back now. So roll back. And then lift the left hand, walk it back so that the wrist is behind your shoulder. Do the same with your right hand. So roll the shoulder back, and we're just going to go into upward facing dog. So if you're not used to upward facing dog, start to lift your knees, pressing to the top of your feet, roll the shoulders back, and then you can let your hips be heavy. So you don't drop in your knee, you just let the hips be heavy, rolling the shoulders back, and the neck follows the line of the spine, so you'll probably be looking forward here. So lots of work here. It's a lot of weight onto the wrist. So if this is too much for your wrist, come onto your fist. It's a pose that's very feasible onto the fist. You want to roll your shoulders back, your chest forward. And then come back. And release, child's pose, bring the arms behind you. You can open or close your knees, whatever works for you, but keep your big toes together. And I would suggest to bring the arms back to release into the shoulders. Inhale and exhale. And then reach your arms forward again. And this time tuck your toes, going into downward facing dog. So make your way into your downward facing dog. Don't forget to first focus on the spine. Very neutral spine, lifting the hips, rolling the shoulders out, pressing the thumb and the index into the floor. And when you find space into your upper body, then you can start to walk your dog, fast, slow, whatever you need. But do it conscious. So you could walk fast and be very present with the movement. You can walk slow and be totally absent and do it out of habit. So stay very present with your movement. Feel what happens in your body. Continue. And don't forget your upper body. It's still long, strong, holding you. And then bending both knees, lifting the hips once more. Really come onto your tippy toes here. See if you can press your head a little bit more between your hands, but at the same time also roll the shoulders back so that you're not sinking in between the arms. Inhale, exhale. So I'm still very high on my toes. And then with the next exhale, I'm going to press for my hips down towards the heels. Bring the heels closer to the floor. Inhale, exhale. And now let's lift the right leg up, bend the right knee and open the hips on one side. So the right hip is stacked onto the left. If you look under your left arm, you should be able to see your right foot. Equal weight into both your arms. Open those hips. Open, open. Really stretch it as if you want to bring your right foot onto the floor, which you can do. But you have to be able to come out also. And then lift your right leg up and bring the right foot between your hands. So getting a bit of release for your wrists. Come up so you can keep the knee down or come into a lunge. Press your heel back if you're into a lunge. Lift your chest. Bring the tailbone down if you feel too much compression in the lower back. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, and as you exhale, very slowly start to turn towards the right. So we're not going in prayer pose. You're going to place your left hand on your right thigh and your right hand on your lower back. So gentle opening here, legs are strong. Inhale, exhale. Don't hesitate to bring your knee down if it becomes too much. If you're shaking, bring the knee down. If you can, come a little bit lower. Strong legs. So don't just sink into the pose. Use your muscles to hold you here. And then coming back to center, bring the left hand down, the right hand down, and downward facing dog. And now you're happy to be in downward facing dog, probably. So again, walk your dog a few times. If you need to go in child's pose instead of downward dog, please do. We'll stay for another 5 breaths in downward dog. So as you inhale, press into your hands. Feel the energy coming all the way up to your hips. And from that same point where you arrive with your inhale, exhale all the way down to your heels. 4 more breaths. If you're in child's pose, join us in downward facing dog. And this time, lift your left leg up, bend your left knee and open those hips. really facing the side of your mat. Press into your hands. Maybe your right heel is even going to touch the floor now. Equal weight into both arms. And then lift your left foot up and bring the left foot in between the hands. So again, option to keep your knee down. Otherwise, come up. Find stability here. Come a little bit deeper. Maybe you feel also an opening in the groin area. Getting a little bit warm. So press your back heel back. And then inhale, lengthen your spine. Place your right hand onto your left thigh. And slowly turn towards the left hand onto your lower back. So you want to be careful that you don't start to move your back heel, but it's continuing to pointing straight back. Two more breaths here. Make sure your core is active. And then slowly coming back, placing the hands down and downward facing dog. Again, just a few breaths here to be happy to be in downward facing dog. Exhale, press into your feet, press into your hands. Observe maybe new sensations. And inhale, come into your plank. And we're slowly going down onto the floor. So make a pillow with your hands and just rest for a few moments here. Observe the sensation of being on your belly. How does that feel for you? Like definitively it's not comfortable for everybody. So I would suggest to place your forehead onto your hands. If you prefer, you could place your chin, but then you're going to have a little bend into your neck. So take a breath in and a breath out. And now, again, open the left arm in a half T. Place your right hand next to your right chest and start to press into your right hand, rolling over onto our left. So another variation of what we already did. So if you want to go further, you can bend your right leg, place your foot behind your left leg, and press a little bit more into your right hand. To go a little bit more back. Go gentle, big opening in the shoulder. So it's a different opening than what we did before. Otherwise, you can keep your legs on top of each other. Really choose what works for you here. The focus is on the shoulder. The rest of the body should be pretty relaxed. And then coming back. Stretch out your right arm. Roll onto your right side. You can always put something under your head here if that's more comfortable. And press your left hand down. You can bend your left leg. Place your foot behind your right leg. And continue to gently and with control open your right shoulder. And then slowly coming back. So we're gonna take the strap here. This might be a little bit more acrobatics, but place your forehead onto the floor, bend your knees, and then put the strap around your ankles. If I get there, yeah. So I'm going to put the strap around my ankles. And then I'm going to roll the shoulders back. So as I do this, my chest is starting to lift. And then holding onto the strap. So it's more a spinal back bend than really compressing in the lower back. So you want to hold on to the strap and then start to pull your legs back, lifting the chest. So your shoulders are going back for sure. Your lower back should be pretty relaxed here. So your head is just going to go where the neck is bringing it, pulling back, opening the chest. You might feel your quadriceps working as you're pulling your feet back. Roll the shoulders out. So the eye of the elbow is turned towards the floor. And then see if you can lift just a little bit into your thighs. Continue to pull the legs back. So, gentle version for the lower back here. Normally we hold onto the feet or the ankles, and then the lower back is very compressed. And then slowly coming down, release. But nevertheless, a lot of work. Inhale, exhale again, bring your forehead onto your hands. Bend your knees. And now bring the legs over towards the right, keeping your forehead onto your hands. So you might not touch the floor, we're just gonna go into a rotation in the spine. Your knees remain on the floor. So if your legs are lifted, that's okay. We wanna eventually bring the feet down so that the opening is a little bit more. Make sure your knees and your hips are in line. And exhale, come to center. And then move to the other side. Make sure your knees remain on top of each other. Press your hips gently forward maybe, or just explore what's happening here. And then coming back to center. And now gently windshield wipe your legs from side to side. Your knees can be slightly separated. And then lengthen out the legs. So yeah, I realized I still have the strap around. So if you want to take the strap away, if it doesn't bother you, you can just leave it there. And then creating even more space into the lower back today. So elbows under the shoulders, hands open and flat, so in line with your shoulders and elbows. Make sure your lower back is not compressed. So gently press into your knees, bring the tailbone a little bit down. Pubic bone comes up, so your core is just getting active, just to do this movement, and then bring it down. And it should create probably a flatter back than what you used to. But we already have space to continue in our Sphinx, so pull your mat back with your forearms. Reach your chest in between your arms, reach it forward. You can look up, imagine the Sphinx. See if you can release. So are we holding anywhere? The only place we're working here is the arms, the rest is following the movement. So is that the case for you? Just observe. Are you holding into your spine? Are you holding into your shoulders? Probably, maybe they're moving forward, so make sure they're moving back. Press your chest forward a little bit just to get that little extra stretch. And then your breath should be quite calm. We're going to stay here for another 5 breaths. And then release. Place your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, and press yourself up into tabletop. So step 1, tabletop. Find your neutral spine, and then step 2, come into your child's pose. So if you feel that your back is a little bit uncomfortable now, I suggest you take a block or 2 or a bolster, and you place your forehead there so that the back can slowly take its position back. So we've done some back bends. You want to be gentle. Your knees are open, your big toes together, so that you have space to release. If you feel your back is okay, then maybe you can lower one level, coming a little bit more down, and then again observing. And if you're still okay, you're still on something, reach your arms forward, bring the forehead down, and let go. And slowly come up and move onto your back. So coming onto the back, find your spine. If you're putting something under your head, don't put it under your shoulders, so that just let the shoulders relax down. So find your spine first. Keep your knees bent. Let the spine rest for a moment onto the floor. And then lengthen out your left leg. Bring your right knee in. Place your hands below your knee, or if you need to, below your thigh. We're going to do some 3 belly breaths, so big belly, inhaling. And then as you exhale, bring the knee in. So the knee is going to point to however your hip joint is built. So that can be towards your shoulder, towards your chest, or even outside of your body. So it's really depending on the construction of your body. So do more like this, inhaling, belly breath, exhaling. Good massage for your internal organs on this side, the liver, the colon. So if ever you have stomach issues, digestion issues, lay down and lay down on your left side. It's really very helpful. So they always say to lay down on your right side to protect your heart from the weight of the rest of the body. But for your stomach, if you have stomach indigestion or anything, before you take anything, lay down, relax. It's also a nervous reaction, so it's going to help a lot. And then bring your right hand onto your right knee. Lift yourself up a little bit and grab your right foot with your left hand. And then just observe, like we're going to move the right knee out and see if we can bring the right foot a little bit more in. And then come back down. And then continue this movement. If you want to go further, you can bring your right inner elbow around your right knee and maybe your left inner elbow. So I am lifted now with my head. I still feel a nice stretch in my hip, but I'm a little bit too lifted in my bum. So my lower back is really flat on the floor. But I'm going to enjoy this hip opener for a little bit. So if this is something for you, go ahead, observe. Eventually, as your hips becomes more open and flexible, your shoulders will be down. I have ever tried this in this hip, so it's way more stiff. Inhale, exhale, come a little bit deeper so I can auto-regulate. There's no pain. I try to keep my foot as much in line with my knee. So I can look at my body, or I can feel my body. First feel, and then maybe just observe. So the other option, if you want to not to just hold on, you can always bend your left leg and gently press against your right leg, wherever it's touching. So again, it's going to depend on how far your knee is from your centrum. from your center. Now mixing Flemish. A couple of options here. You can just stay with the leg long and pull it in. And then release your foot, bring the knee back to center, lift your leg up. You can bring your hands behind your thigh. So we want to really start to stretch out the leg here. If stretching out the leg and keeping the hand behind the thigh is not possible, take your strap around your right foot. Otherwise, you can just stay here, but really go and find that length. And then press your hip down. So inhale, lift the heel, toes are pointing towards my face. Exhale, and I feel that internal lengthening into my leg. And I'm going to bend my knee and lengthen it out. Take a breath in, and as I exhale, I bring my left knee in. So same thing, belly breaths for 3 breaths. Inhale, big belly breath. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Left hand on your left knee. Right hand grabs my left foot and gently start to open up. So first observe, maybe observing differences, no pain in the knee. So make sure your toes and your middle toes, especially in your knees, are always aligned. And then go and do the version you want to do. So they say rocking the baby here. If you hold it like this, it's as if you're holding a baby. Or keeping the head down, bending the right leg, and gently press the leg closer to your chest. Let's stay here for 3 more breaths. Releasing so that your hip can open. If we hold too much into the hip, there should really be a lot of release in the body. Your arms might be working to pull it in, but your legs are just following, your hips are just following. And then lengthen out the right leg. Bring the knee, the foot back in line with the shoulder. Place your hands behind your thighs and stretch out your left leg. So again, that lengthening from the heel towards the hip. And then letting go, bending the knee, and bring the foot down. Now just observe. You're going to do one more here. So open your arms into a T. Place the feet as wide as your mat. Bend your knees. Take your breath in and then exhale. For now, we're going to really press the knees towards the right. Press your shoulders down. So your belly is going to have to follow either one. Chest is down. Knees are going down. See if you can go a little bit lower. If you want, you can bring your right foot on top of your left leg. So don't press immediately onto your knee, but just gently pressing down to find a little bit more opening into the left waist. So starting to release in the hips, in the legs, in the spine, but keeping the shoulders on the floor. And then if your foot is on top of the other leg, take it off and then coming back to center. Stay here for a breath. And then as you exhale, go to the other side. So really pushing the shoulders down, pushing the knees down. So not just let it fall, just pushing it down, especially the right leg if you're going to the left. And then again, if you want to bring your foot on top to add a little bit more weight, a little bit more opening in the hip, in the waist on the right side. And then letting go of that foot. And bring the knees back to center. Bring the knees into the chest for a moment. Maybe rock a little bit from side to side. And then slowly releasing the legs for Shavasana. If your lower back hurts, place a pillow or two under your knees. Bring the arms alongside. Make sure your shoulders, your chest is open but not stiff. So you should be able to relax. So there is no muscle, no one muscle working here. Not the muscle of your forehead. So release your forehead. The jaw are relaxed. They're not working. So especially if you have a tendency to clench, if you're stressed, often we clench without knowing. So observe, maybe a few times, like moving your jaw, open, closing your mouth, and then release. And imagine the skin of your face gliding down, releasing your eyes, sinking, your ears, letting go. Your shoulders, your arms, your legs. And then slowly release. Even more, maybe starting to breathe a little bit more consciously. Starting to make little moves with your body. So for once, maybe don't do the automatic toes and fingers, but maybe your head, maybe dancing with your hips a little bit, really connecting with your body. Taking a breath in and a breath out. And then bringing the knees into your chest. Rolling over to the right side or the other side if that's more comfortable. Staying here for a few moments. And slowly coming up into a comfortable seated position. So whatever that is for you, whatever position that is for you. Taking your breath in, finding space into the spine, into the upper body, into your mind. Exhale without collapsing, just staying here focused. Bring the chin to the chest, the hands in front of the heart. Be grateful for the little things. I'm grateful to be able to share my practice. I wish you a wonderful day. Namaste.